Hello and welcome. This is Notibot Yenji. Tonight, we take you on a journey through the most pressing global news stories as the world grapples with the escalating conflicts in the Middle East and beyond. The Iran war has taken a dramatic turn, with Houthi rebels entering the fray, while the U.S. ramps up its military presence in the region. Meanwhile, Ukrainian President Zelenskyy is forging new alliances with Gulf Arab states. We'll break down the latest developments and explore the implications for global politics and international relations. Let's get started with the news. As tensions escalate in the Middle East, a new front in the Iran conflict has emerged, drawing in the Houthi rebels. CBS News World, March 28, 2026. Houthis enter Iran war. More U.S. troops arrive to Middle East. The conflict in Yemen has escalated, with the Houthis entering the war in Iran. According to sources, European allies of the U.S. are revealing that Russia is directly supporting Iran's war efforts, beyond what the U.S. acknowledges. This cooperation between Russia and Iran has led to Iranian technological advancements, including the refinement of drone warfare. The United Kingdom assesses that Iran has transferred Shahid drones to Moscow for use in Ukraine and also provided production know-how to Russia. This has helped Iran refine its drone warfare capabilities. France's Foreign Minister Jean-Noël Barrot described the relationship between Russia and Iran as two-way cooperation. He stated that there are reasons to believe Russia is now supporting Iran's military efforts, targeting American interests. Former Iranian Crown Prince Reza Pahlavi, who is the most prominent member of the regime's opposition, wants to lead Iran in a transition to democracy. During his speech at the Conservative Political Action Conference, the audience interrupted him with cheers of Reza Pahlavi, USA, and Free Iran. Pahlavi's remarks sparked hopes for a new start for Iran under his leadership. The situation has significant implications for global security, particularly in the Middle East. The conflict in Yemen has already led to widespread humanitarian suffering, and the involvement of Iran and Russia raises concerns about the potential for escalation. The U.S. has increased its troop presence in the region, but the escalating conflict highlights the need for diplomatic efforts to resolve the conflict peacefully. As the world grapples with the aftermath of a U.S.-Iran conflict that defies traditional diplomacy, a disturbing pattern is emerging about American leadership. On February 28, 2026, the United States undertook a surprise military operation, codenamed Operation Epic Fury, against Iran. This bold move was taken by President Donald Trump without any prior congressional debate, public deliberation, or formal declaration of war. In fact, the strikes on Iranian Supreme Leader Ali Khamenei and multiple senior officials were carried out just minutes after the top lawmakers were notified, indicating a complete disregard for the constitutional process. The White House's justification for the operation was based on collective self-defense under the UN Charter, but the U.S. was not under attack. Iran had not struck American soil, and the administration's conflicting statements about the aims of the operation, ranging from ending Iran's nuclear program to regime change, raised serious concerns about the true intentions behind the strike. Senator Andy Kim, a key Democrat, expressed his disappointment with the lack of transparency and strategic clarity from the administration. "The president has really boxed us in and put us on the hook for things that we haven't discussed as a country," he stated. When senators demanded classified briefings, they largely received stonewalling responses. This move has significant implications for American democracy, as it undermines the constitutional checks and balances that are supposed to protect the rights of the people. The incident highlights the dangers of unchecked presidential power and the erosion of democratic norms in the United States. In a significant development, a key defense pact has been signed between Qatar and Ukraine as part of President Zelenskyy's efforts to strengthen regional ties. In a significant development, Qatar and Ukraine have signed a defense agreement, marking a new chapter in their strategic partnership. The agreement, announced during Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelenskyy's recent tour of the Gulf region, aims to strengthen bilateral cooperation on defense and security issues. The partnership, which includes Qatar, Ukraine, and other Gulf Cooperation Council (GCC) states, aims to enhance regional stability and counterbalance the growing influence of Russia in the Middle East. The agreement is part of Zelenskyy's broader effort to diversify Ukraine's defense relationships and build new partnerships with countries that share similar interests. The signing of the defense agreement comes as Ukraine seeks to strengthen its military capabilities in the face of ongoing tensions with Russia. The partnership with Qatar is seen as a significant development, given the country's military and economic support to Ukraine in the past. This cooperation is expected to focus on joint military exercises, intelligence sharing, and the development of Ukraine's defense sector. The agreement also reflects Qatar's growing role as a key player in regional security efforts. The country has been actively engaging with Ukraine and other NATO member states in recent years, seeking to strengthen its position in the Middle East and North Africa. By strengthening ties with Ukraine, Qatar aims to enhance its influence in the region and counterbalance Russian ambitions. As the world grapples with escalating conflicts in Eastern Europe and the Middle East, the G7 is now shifting its focus. G7 foreign ministers meet amid Russia-Ukraine and Iran wars. The G7 foreign ministers met in France for a two-day summit, aimed at addressing the ongoing conflicts in Russia-Ukraine and Iran. The meeting, which started on Wednesday, focused on finding a balance between condemning the aggressions and maintaining economic ties with the affected countries. The G7, comprising the United States, Canada, France, Germany, Italy, Japan, and the United Kingdom, has been under pressure to take a strong stance on the Russia-Ukraine conflict. However, the group has also been trying to avoid exacerbating the situation by imposing harsh sanctions, which could lead to economic instability. On the other hand, the G7 has been critical of Iran's nuclear program and its ballistic missile tests. The group has called for tougher sanctions against Iran, but the European Union has been hesitant to follow suit due to concerns about the potential impact on the Iran nuclear deal. The meeting comes as the United States is expected to deliver a strong message on Friday, when Secretary of State Marco Rubio arrives. Analysts expect Rubio to push for a more robust response to Russia's actions in Ukraine, while also emphasizing the need to maintain economic ties with the country. The meeting is also seen as an opportunity for the G7 to discuss ways to support the Middle East peace process and the ongoing crisis in Yemen. The summit is expected to conclude on Friday, with the foreign ministers issuing a joint statement on the key issues discussed. In a significant escalation, Yemen's Houthi rebels have launched a missile strike on Israel, marking the first such attack since the Iran-backed war began. Yemen's Houthis have launched the first missile strike on Israel since the conflict with Iran began a month ago. In a statement, Yahya Sari, the Houthis' military spokesperson, confirmed that the group had launched ballistic missiles at Israeli military sites in southern occupied Palestine. Israel's military said it had identified the launch of a missile from Yemen towards Israeli territory, and that its aerial defense systems were operating to intercept the threat. However, there were no reports of any casualties or damage in Israel. The Houthis' actions come as a response to the ongoing conflict with Israel, which began in October 2023 with the Israeli government's assault on Gaza. The Houthis, who are allied with Iran, have been involved in the conflict since November 2022, carrying out attacks on international shipping in the Red Sea and launching intermittent long-range missile attacks on Israel. The Red Sea attacks, which have continued for over 18 months, have caused significant disruption to global trade. The Suez Canal, which is a vital trade route, has been largely closed, and vessels have had to take the longer and more expensive route around the Cape of Good Hope at the southern tip of Africa. This has resulted in a 70% drop in maritime traffic in the Gulf of Aden over the past 2 years. The Houthis' actions are also a response to the U.S.-Israeli war, which has been ongoing since the conflict with Iran began. The Houthis have threatened to join the conflict if their ally Iran continues to be attacked, and have warned against the Red Sea being used for hostile operations. This latest development raises concerns about the potential escalation of the conflict and its impact on global trade and security. As the global arms race intensifies, President Volodymyr Zelenskyy embarks on a high-stakes diplomatic mission to the Gulf Arab states. Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelenskyy has made a series of unannounced visits to the Gulf Arab states, including the UAE and Qatar, as part of a bid to offer his country's drone expertise to help these nations counter Iran's attacks in the Middle East. Zelenskyy's visits come amid a growing need for regional security cooperation, particularly in the face of ongoing tensions between Iran and its regional adversaries. Ukraine, which has become one of the world's leading producers of cutting-edge drone interceptors, sees this as an opportunity to secure its own interests by offering its technology to Gulf countries. In return for its drone expertise, Ukraine is seeking more advanced air defense missiles to counter Russia's attacks. Zelensky's visits have been welcomed by Gulf leaders, who see the Ukrainian offer as a valuable asset in the region's security landscape. In Saudi Arabia, Zelensky signed a 10-year security agreement, and similar talks are underway with the UAE. In Qatar, he met with Emir Mohammed bin Zayed Al Nahyan and signed cooperation agreements in the defense sector. The visits reflect the increasingly complex web of alliances and rivalries in the Middle East. Iran's attacks have raised concerns among Gulf states, which have historically enjoyed a close relationship with the U.S. The involvement of Ukraine, a country that has been a key player in the conflict with Russia, adds a new dimension to the regional dynamics. The success of Zelensky's visits will depend on whether Ukraine can deliver on its promises and provide the technology and expertise that Gulf countries need to counter the Iranian threat. That's all for today's news update. Thank you for watching. If you want to stay informed on the latest global developments, be sure to subscribe to our channel. We'll keep you up to date on the complexities of international relations, from the Middle East to Eastern Europe and beyond. Until next time, good night, and we'll see you in the next video.